I'm Christian Lamachka, and today I present you Glen Templeton. Glen, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me, Christian.
Glen, you are well known here in the US, but maybe some of the European fans don't know you. So can you please introduce yourself and the music you are playing to someone who never heard or seen you before?
Yeah, I'm Glen Templeton. I was born and raised in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, which is in the southeast part of the United States.
Okay.
I was raised in an ordinary working class family, and my mother was worked in the coal mines, and my dad was a traveling musician, and he kind of instilled the love for country music for me with a song that he recorded back in the early 70s and 80s called California, and he had a little bit of success with it. And our music is a style of music that comes from the roots of how I was brought up, and in that working class environment, and it's also has a little bit of a an edge to it, like that fits today's country radio here in the United States.
Yep.
And just blending those lines of that music, just there's a lot of heart and soul in it, and we had such a good time making this record. I think that there's a good time in listening to it. It's just I feel like that with this new single we're fixing to get ready to release, I Could Be the One. It's a song about a guy who has a certain amount of imperfections, just like all us boys do. Yeah. And but he still, at the end of the day, has enough confidence to tell the girl that I could be the one.
Okay.
And so there's a couple of songs on there that I've written that are just kind of related to my past.
Okay.
They're kind of story about my past. And the first song on there, Country Boys for Life, is a song that's it's pretty much tells about a guy and his buddies riding in the car for the first time. So the freedom and the feel that you get out of that first set of keys that you own. And but I think there's this record is a record that everybody can relate to. It takes you to different places in your life. It takes you back to that time. Every song has something to it there's a part of it that'll take you back to, man, I remember when I first heard that. So but we're really excited about getting this thing out and really hitting the radio markets everywhere.
Sounds good. Glen, that we can get a better idea about who you are can you show us some of your personality more?
Well, you mean a big smile like that?
Well, no. See, I like girls, so.
Well, I mean, me too.
Okay, good to know.
Me too. We have that in common.
Yeah, but give us an idea about your social work and what brought you might be to country music. Were your parents supportive by the time they know you're going to a business which is very scary sometimes?
Absolutely. My parents have always been supportive. But I had this, I've always had this urge to, to get out and meet people and reach other people. And, my social life is kind of it's kind of just an ordinary everyday life.
Yeah.
I lead the same life as, the next, common man, working man, anywhere in the world. I lead the same kind of lifestyle. My family's always been supportive of everything that I do. I was raised by my grandmother all my life. So, I was raised an old-fashioned way. So I have an old-fashioned, point of view just on everything.
Okay.
And, a lot of, I was brought up on good country cooking, and but here in town, I've got a lot of, met a lot of great people who've opened some doors to a different kind of a professional lifestyle,
okay,
you know, if you will. And they've really taught me a lot about being an artist, because it was never that was never what I was really looking for. Was just I wanted to just be, I almost wanted to, sing songs and, go out and play live and meet people and, just have an open-handed relationship with everybody.
By the way, how do you look musically? What's your favorite stars where you say, okay, this one I like to be like this guy or this guy?
Mm-hmm. Some of my influences were, the guys that were real studiers of great songs and, great songwriters, and, some of the people who inspired me were like, Waylon Jennings and Merle Haggard and, Conway Twitty and...
Sounds like you're more the old school guy.
Yeah, I was raised in that traditional style family, and I was brought up on on good country music, and but I mean, as time went on, I became a teenager, and I listened to a lot of hip hop also. Yeah. So there's a there's a lot of that had somewhat of an influence on me, and but I mean, for the most part, my heart's always been strictly in country music.
What happens to you since you're in the music business? What's the good times? What good things? What happens to you?
Well, one of the first things that happened to me when I got into town was, just like you say, it is a scary town to come into because it is such a tough and a competitive industry. Yep. And one of the first things that I remember getting into was into the studio for the first time and having a a great producer there with me who just really taught me, what I needed to do to become a better artist, and but I teamed up with a couple of years ago. I teamed up with a great management company, and have just recently teamed up with our first record label, and we're really gearing toward making this record that comes from somewhere in like it comes from the heart, and then it has to blend with the country music today, and we traveled all last year. Some of the highlights of my traveling in my career have been, I got to open some dates with George Jones.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, I got to open some dates with George Jones, and got to play the role of Conway Twitty in a traveling touring musical.
By so much traveling, I believe you have some good road stories, might be. One you can share?
Yeah, I do. Traveling across the country, I guess on the funnier side of things, we had a show that we had to play in Grand Junction, Colorado, which is it's really dry out there, and we get out there and we're all pumped up. Everybody, the band travels out there, and we put probably 50,000 miles on our truck and trailer last year, and but we get out to Grand Junction, and my guitar player calls the management, and he says, Bud, he says, man, I don't really know how to tell you this. He said, there's no problem, and I and everybody's just, all my guys are just so nice about everything, and they're like, man, I don't know how to tell you this, but man, they've got our backdrop here at this stage is about 50 porta-johns. And there's this picture on our website that has us standing in front of the 50 porta-johns and us pointing to them like that. So, I mean, it was a crappy backdrop, I guess you could say. But I mean, on the funnier side of things, that's probably one of the stories that that'll stick with me forever.
Okay, cool.
So,
well, cool, folks. That's his current album. You can probably get it at his website too. I think so.
That's right.
So, what's the website address?
It's www.glentempleton.com.
So, Glenn, thanks for your time that you share with us, and hope you will have success a lot. And see you next time.
Thank you, Christian.